Step 13-degree full moon in Taurus right now, and it's triggering karmic earthquakes this week.
And it's time to build better boundaries tonight on Leading Out Loud.
I don't just talk stuff and repeat stuff. I'm living this stuff.
And you can thank me for covering your astro.
Leading out loud. Leading out loud. We're leading out loud.
Hello, planet Earth. Welcome to Leading Out Loud, the spiritual shift show that's zen and zesty. I'm psychic astrologer Christopher Wotecki, the sensei at SiriusJoy.com.
And I'm Scott Cruz, psychic medium and mentor at scottcruzpm.com. So, Christopher, is your week a little better this week?
A little better.
Than history's? Oh, good. Yeah, explain.
Scorpio's tough, man. Like, Scorpio's tough for me. I'm a Taurus. It's tough. Because it's emotional boundaries. It's like, resisting that the cookie jar kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You look like a banana cream pie and you look like a strawberry shortcake. That's what it looks like our outfits right now.
You're hungry, aren't you? Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, it's intense. I mean, people are, this moon is no shift. It should cause you to want more, really. I mean, that's the simple part of it.
Yeah.
And you get kind of bull angry about it and just go, I want more. I'm tired of this. I want more. So that's in this 24-hour period right now. So we'll see. Hopefully our audience say that to us. I want more. And we're going to do some talk about boundaries today, actually. And today, for a little game, we're going to focus on news around boundary disputes. So our news articles around boundary disputes going on right now. And that's the theme in Scorpio. We draw the line. So I guess that's one place. Yeah. Let's see where we draw the line. Let's see what we feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of that, too, has to do with, I think, sometimes we allow too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to gather my thoughts for a moment because there's so many different directions. And I think right now is a good time for us we've done a lot of the work the past few months of making the realizations of what we know we should not be doing and slapping ourselves in the hand. So I think it should be easier this time around Scorpio season to set the boundaries. I think we're kind of more in the know now about how and what to do because it's been very obvious the past 3-4 months of that type of roller coaster. So I think this Scorpio season should be a lot more easier. Saying, oh yeah, cut that out, do that, don't do that.
It is for some reasons. I mean, Jupiter's retrograding this week. The problem is Jupiter's been making us feel really positive by nature to our feelings. We've had a lot of positive responses. Jupiter kind of gives that optimistic, just like fills the universe with optimistic, Sagittarian kind of quotes. And so now that it's going retrograde, it means people have to kind of stand up and be their own coach. So that's a real test because, whenever it's a boundary, you're a little sensitive. But I agree. I think, at least for me, I know exactly where the line is. Before I didn't. Now I know precisely where the line is. I just got to draw it, and I do. And you just go through the little quakes. And that's what I mean by spiritual earthquakes.
Oh, of course. 100%. Well, that's also going to create a lot of disruptances in people who have been relying on you or others who are trying to set the boundaries. They're not going to like it. And they're going to cause their tantrums and create earthquakes because of the fact that they don't like the fact that they don't can rely on you and you're pulling the plug. So, when we change, we evolve. There's a lot of people that have been lingering and latching and leeching. They ain't going to like it. And I would say, good. Oh, well.
I've gone through that prior, just leading up to this. I was doing a lot of that already, where just ridiculous boundaries crossed. I mean, just so much obvious, so slap in the face. It's like, okay, I get it, universe. And I do find that that's how Scorpio gets. It will get, the stinger gets, that stinger gets more poisonous as you go, down the line of stupidity. And Scorpio was just like sting your life and freeze you. And that usually is like the god awful truth coming at you to your face at an unexpected moment. Yeah. That's what Scorpio will do. They'll throw the truth in your face at the last minute. You're like, right in front of people. So we're drawing boundaries, and this is the week really between now and this next week. We'll talk about it actually when we talk about astrology here in a minute. We'll come back from that. First, let's do some example headlines of where boundaries are trying to be maintained. I guess I don't even know how to pronounce it. Zoran Mamdani, I hope so.
Yeah, Mamdani. Yep, Mamdani
wins the New York mayor's race. Wow, incredible! 34-year-old self-described Democrat socialist, became the city's first Muslim and the first mayor of South Asian descent. The youngest mayor in over a century. Well, it's good that we have young coming in. I'm happy about that.
I was about to say that. The young part sounds nice. We're tired of these oldies.
Thank you. And I just think, I don't know, the world's going this direction as far as, if we're all equal, truly, then, it's going to be every walk of life you never would imagine, per se. And I think that the kind of like subtone there's like a little racism or not racism and socialism. There's some buzzwords in that one. But when I feel all that, I mean, yes, there's an agenda, but Americans still, even New York, want their wealth and freedom. So I'm worried about the socialist part.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm hoping we don't go from one extreme to the next either. So conservative now, so liberal. So we got to find the balance. Hopefully that because I think a lot of people, there was, especially with the election day yesterday, it was a huge blue wave, and granted it was in blue cities, but a lot of independents been coming out. A lot of the the Gen Zers who weren't necessarily able to vote 5 years ago, they're voting now, and so they're going more more liberal right now. And so we just still need to understand and maintain the balance. We'd go too far in the extremes, in that sense. So I feel like spiritually, it's not. We will level out, and people with empathy are going to put that more into the political system as this individual. So I feel psychically too, the Democratic Socialist title sounds more than what I think he will be. I think he'll implement certain things that we already have built in our socialist system and capitalism system. So I think he'll just kind of expand more on that. I don't think he's going to go so far in the deep end of socialism. That's my psychic vibe on him. I think it's more the title that gives it more of that social democratic.
Well, that's just it. Actually, I think I'm more concerned about the fact that we're throwing out that title so randomly. It seems a little bit like a little bit of seeding of some other ideas or other agendas.
Right.
That's a suspicion. I mean, like we all know we've all read some socialist, propaganda where it's basically, they're slowly conditioning you to like the frog, boiling in the water. Like they slowly just introduce little things and begin to come around your society. So we need to pay attention to that. That happens, and that's an issue we should all look out for, because I do think there's a lot of people in the world who think they can take over the United States. I really do. I think they think we're weak right now, and they're thinking, let's go for it. And they have different methods and means. So that said, but I think there's a lot of surprises coming up for everyone. So no matter what I'll tell you this: if you're being called in the office now, boy, do you have some karma. Boy, do you have some karma, because of what's about to happen as far as our changes. So that tells you one interesting thing too.
Well, yeah. I mean, even the people that cringe at this term socialist, I'm like, what do you think our system is? Yeah, we're capitalism, but what do you think income tax is? We're paying into a system to provide social services. So we still have socialistic, things in our structures in our world now. So it just, how far do we go with that is more the question here. So
until we start defining terms legally, to start changing the terms in court cases and saying, calling it's just kind of creep out. It's one of those things that, look, we've seen so many countries go down. We think we're bulletproof from that kind of thing. Why we would be bulletproof from that thing, especially how weak we are right now, as far as our camaraderie among each other. And that's really the power is, I think, it's our own camaraderie.
Yeah. Next one is the job openings October slumped to the lowest level since February 2021, according to Indeed, which who uses Indeed anymore? I mean, people still on that? I thought it was more about the LinkedIn, site, but the decline suggests that U.S. labor markets may be cooling. Fewer job posts means less hiring demand. And so, I think that's very true. But I also feel like when we look at job positionings and so forth, a lot of people found their own remote businesses. A lot of people have been maybe jumped into spiritual businesses or jumped into doing things more remotely and independently now, right? And making money that way. OnlyFans.
Totally. Yeah, I know. I can't believe that. It's like
corporate America. Yeah, not many people are rushing to corporate America, and especially now what I used to call like my the accounts that I hold, and it was always sourced in America. They're all sourced. Even Apple's now sourced outside of America, so they're all jobs being fed overseas. So and AI is doing a lot of things that they don't need people to do anymore.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I think AI very quickly. First of all, if nothing else, once you have it as your own private aid during the day, you do need less. You need much less time. Much less assistance, much less, other stuff. So it does actually in my office cut out stuff and save me tremendous time, and also all kinds of tremendous with the graphics it's doing and stuff. Honestly, I think this is the first time we have a leg up as far as independent TV in history, because we have AI. We can now compete on a level where creativity alone is what you're competing on, and because the tools are there to keep it stunning. I'm just I'm waiting every day for it to go down or something like that, take it away, because it's so powerful. I mean, the stuff I'm looking at, it's just amazing. And we're at the beginning. So I think you're right.
Yeah, it's definitely making my job a lot more fun and easier. It's just as simple as doing ads and promos and stuff like that. It's been making it so much better where I can just focus on what I need to do, and all the execution's easier to put together for me. So yeah, it's been easy.
Amazing.
But to dovetail that article too, Christopher, the tech industry has cut 112,000 jobs since the start of 2025, with large layoff announcements continuing, including IBM, Microsoft, Intel, and Amazon. Now, I think those large tech companies are using AI to do the jobs that people were doing before. So I think that's also why there's been a lot of job cuts in those major tech companies.
Probably planned these layoffs actually when they did the business plan 10 years ago. And then we're going to lay all these people off. And they swelled up for COVID, and everything swelled up for that, for a minute. But the reality was, I think that was the last hee-haw, because not only is it is not only is it like that people are literally being replaced by AI, which is it's not cookie cutter right now, but it's happening more and more parts of the job itself are.
Yeah.
So it's like it's growing, but at the end of the day, I think too, because of AI, everything is like, well, hold on, like every software product everywhere is like, wait a second, we got to rethink. Like everyone has to rethink. So I think everyone's just like stopping down, like, wait a second, let's take a lap here and see how are we going to integrate with AI, and like because it's moving so fast. This is one where you've been left in the dust. If you're not in it, you can't put it somewhere in your services and do something magical with it, then you're having a problem competing.
Right. The one thing I like about AI now too is like you still got to be creative and know how to put something together. It just doesn't do everything for you, so you still have to have a creative juice. And so I still like that. It's not sucking the creativity. And people even with AI music, like I'm still writing new music, but I'm not using AI. And I told you last week I'm going to put like SI Soul Intelligence, that created this, not so much AI intelligence, but people can tell what's humanly created and what's not now. So I think the human effort and creative effort is going to be more desired, especially with things like music and creative expressions like that. So people are going to crave more of that. So I'm welcoming AI coming in. I don't feel competitive about it. I feel like each will be distinct in their own right. So, and I think I've been telling everybody else, this is not all doom and gloom when it comes to AI. It's going to make our lives easier. We can be more focused on things that we really want to focus on.
No, let me just inject here because I'm a Taurus. There's no doom and gloom. There's no doom and gloom at all. Like honestly, it's actually going to be amazing because people can now go on and do jobs they want. The boring shit's gonna be taken care of. It's amazing. Right. And you're like, if you're worried about employment or whatever, you just need to like go look. These wonderful tools will come that will help you think through shit. So anything you imagine now, use the tool and see what you can do. Like we have no idea. We have no idea. It's gonna be a whole new race. It's like people, it's a whole new space race, kind of, in the sense that now the average business right now, small business or whatever, has pretty good competition potential against a biggie, just because the processing, the figuring out where there's holes in the budget, like it really thinks through every part of the business. We're getting speed up, we're getting or being acclimated basically to this new system, and it's going to take America a while.
Totally. Yeah.
And prompts are something we're learning too. Although now I have AI write my prompts for my AI. Like, hey, I need a prompt for and then it will do its best job and do a much better job than me. And I'm like, damn. So yeah, it's interesting. This is gonna be a fun thing to cover the next 7 years, honestly.
Yeah, and like I tell people too, like even though people are so scared about AI is evolving, human consciousness is evolving too. Tap into the expansion of human consciousness. This means that your psychic abilities, your intuitive abilities, your mediumistic abilities are coming to easy access than it ever has been in previous energy cycles. And so take advantage of that. Stop worrying about this is coming up. No, you're going up too, and how do you want to use it? I think that's been a huge trend in the spiritual community, is about like other spiritual leaders helping others become spiritual leaders too. That's been a huge trend because that's the age we're in now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and I think a couple of reasons, like Pluto and Sagittarius generation, which is my son, his generation, which is not someone else, it's just prior. I mean, just after actually, but they have Pluto and Sag. They don't know what they believe. And honestly, because they'll live the oldest, they'll probably end up, controlling with Pluto and Sag. They'll probably control what our beliefs become. So our beliefs are about to be remixed into something totally new, and we can guide them in directions, things like that. But I think you're right. It's like water's rising. It's like, hey, if a machine can do what it used to do here, well, humans, you're gonna have to go higher.
Exactly.
And that higher is psychic awareness and things. It's like, dude, I use it for a living. I tell you, my psychic AI is so much more high power than anything, because I'm on lifetimes anything. And these are requests you can make to spirit, and it just comes from Akashic Records and whatnot. So actually, spiritual technology is actually going to just boom just as much. And the thing is, like, already AI is starting to prove some of my intelligence as far as astrology, because I'll throw the different theories in, and the AI is literally like, that's genius. Now, they may all say that, but I asked, well, are there any other examples of this, or any other people doing this? And it's like, no, that they know. So just the idea here, like a computer has like sucked up the entire internet. It goes, nope, we've never seen anything like that. That alone was like, holy shit. You can really kind of just get an idea. If nothing else, it's not a record, right? So.
But AI has also learned how to kiss ass too. You got to watch.
I agree. You got
to watch that South Park
episode.
That'd
be a good sketch. I think that'd be a good sketch for us, like an AI sketch where we start talking about it. It's like, come on,
in South Park, they did that.
Leader. Right,
They did on South Park. They showed the guy was so wrapped up in with ChatGPT, and it like complimented everything and made decisions. That's a great idea. And then he just completely failed his business. Oh, that's so because everything was a great idea,
Yeah,
it's funny.
I
didn't see you should watch it.
The funny part with them is that they focus on one aspect that's like undeniable in their cartoon, South Park, and it's always something like you didn't really like think about the consequence of. It's like I love the guy's humor and what they point at. It's good. Yeah. This
Last
our
one
next
is the government shutdown continues as the largest ever in history. 42 million Americans who rely on SNAP food assistance will have reduced benefits. Now, and I think the last I heard that they petitioned or ordered that because they have $5 billion in emergency funds for times like this. So I think they've been ordered, the government has been ordered to release those funds. And I think that still they'll have funding, but they'll get it late and they'll probably get half of what they're used to, So, this is just something I feel like that there's a duality for me on this one. One, there are people hurting that rely on the government, and two, there's people who aren't necessarily relying on the government instead of doing their own, deal. But I think we need to really focus on the emphasis on there are people that do need assistance, and what can we do as a community to also help instead of relying on the federal government too for this, because I think the more we become in the age of Aquarius, the more we become more humanitarianism, we will have backup for our communities instead of like, Uncle Sam is controlling everything. They can't come to decisions, so government shut down, so now everyone's screwed, who need. So I think this is going to help us to set boundaries of how much power we give to the government, actually.
I agree.
I think a lot of people see this.
I agree. I personally believe in something a little different. I feel corporations should be paying this. I think really corporations should be investing in people, not in wealth. And I think we are the wealth. And I think we create a corporate culture I call conscious capitalism, a corporate culture where it's like, we're investing in these people. You're also going to stay with us. It's like, it's a team thing. We come together as a team. We come together as a company, come together as a brand, and we have a mission and our heart was in it. And we like coming to work every day. It's like that alignment needs to happen. Like, why we aren't doing that? And now this thing, now they have AI and all the boring stuff being kind of taken care of, there's a lot more room for that because, it all becomes creative, one, and also how well, people come together or not or work together because, still people behind those computers.
Well, I really feel Gen Z is going to be the ones that are going to create corporations like this. I can't tell you how many readings I've had with clients where they have new startups, right? And I predicted they see a startup and they get a startup, they come back, and it's all about younger generations. They're coming with more like unity, more about like productivity and expression, less about politic bullshit and identity politics, just kind of like coming together and just being creative. And so I feel like Gen Z will be a participant in a lot of that, change when it comes to corporations. I really felt that with this, hippie generation. So
yeah, well, it's interesting. That's my son again, and like, I think because they have Pluto and Sag, they really are. Sag is, Jupiter. Jupiter's like anything under the rainbow, So, it's a generation here who actually has not had a choice in their belief structure, and probably who knows, maybe every time on Earth, because you're always under religion or a family that tells you how to think. And this is the first time they're going to decide stuff. So who knows? We're going to get unicorns and all sorts of shit. Like, I think at the end of the day, they're going to go for it all. Yeah.
I'm down with it. I'm good. Give me a unicorn. I'm good.
I'm down for sure. All right.
But and there'll also be a huge, blue wave too, in a lot of the blue states, a lot of the cities that people are voting. And so, and I think a lot of the independents, so those who couldn't, like I said before, those couldn't vote before. So I think people are just seeking something different. So I'm hoping that people, shift around and politics, newer people, newer faces, and younger faces come in that really bring a balance to somewhat degree where we all can kind of agree for a change.
I think we have to all watch our own media, first of all, and stop watching theirs. I think we are educated professionals now, and our opinions matter. It's Gen X down, I'm talking. It's like, and we need to, really come up with our own opinions and our own design for stuff and like have them following us as a movement rather than us always following them. Like, I think it's time for us to take our power, which is really step in our creativity and solve some problems. I mean, I think a lot of us know, my family, we divorced family growing up 80s, right? So it was like emotional. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, right now, the United States is kind of in a divorce a little bit. And to me, I was born for this moment, understand. And you know what, at the end of the day, you have to work together, period. So we have to learn how. We're old enough now, as citizens, I think. And as a generation of America. America's one Pluto old. Really, America's just one Pluto old, which is like one lap really around its whole circle.
Cycle. Yeah.
So they have one cycle. The United States had one cycle in all these hundreds of years. That's Pluto return, which happened during actually Trump, I think, and and that conjunction, and COVID came on that conjunction. So on the birthday of the United States, like the galactic birthday. So we're now in our second, our first year really. If you use step system, is 0 and then 1. So this is the first year, the number 1, step 1, and this is where the planet or the being learns how to love itself, which ironically is exactly where we are on the planets. In fact, this year we had 3 planets that were outer slow planets like Uranus. We had Saturn, which is pretty slow, once every 3 years kind of thing. And then we had Neptune, which is very slow. And they were all at step 0, step 1 of their whatever sign they were in. They're in step 1. They just stay there in step 1. Stay there, which is self-love, self-love, self-love. Right. We like to research all the way back to before Christ, and we did not see anywhere where a solar system had been supported for self-love like that from outer planets for a long period of time. It truly is like a unique astrological, moment in that sense. So it seems like the universe is rooting for us, but it comes down to self-love. That's the thing.
Well, I think this is all destined, for us. This is fall for our karmic evolution, right? So I always tell people, you don't want to be so in it to where you're so resistant and fighting against it till you don't understand it's supposed to occur. But you also don't want to be so in the head in the clouds, just like, well, it's supposed to happen, so therefore I'm not going to do anything. We got to be in the middle, because I'm so frustrated with things I know that are supposed to happen, but that frustration is supposed to be expressed, right? The revolution is supposed to be expressed. The empathy is supposed to be expressed based on what the conditions are currently, even though they're supposed to happen, be the way they're happening right now. So we got to find that middle ground during this time, saying we're supposed to be here. Trump is a disruptor. He tended spiritually to disrupt things so we can wake up and see things differently. So therefore we need to also understand that even though it's a positive, that the negative that's being done to resurrect a lot of us too. So I think we need to find that balance with it. Some people are just too detached from it. Some people are so absorbed by it. And it's like, if we can find a middle ground, that could be very helpful for participating in the change.
Yeah, I think part of it is our separation. The middle ground is I think some real policy, when it's working or not working, and really determine what does it mean when it's working, when it means it's not working. Okay, therefore, is it working? And they go, it's not working. It's okay. We're unanimous. It's not working. So it's I think piece by piece, the collective comes together on the fundaments, and that's the thing. You've got to be able to have a bit of an intellect where you can walk the line between two. That's really when most popular presidents came, even Reagan and stuff. Because of his TV nature and Hollywood nature, he had walked the line between two. Many sides, both sides liked him in many ways, and and the fact that we had him imprinted in our brain through acting things, as a cowboy, for Christ's sakes, was also very helpful. Pretty much his campaigning started 30, 40 years before he ran. So it's wow, it's in everyone's collective consciousness. You need, at this time, what I see is this. I see that you're going to see centralists. You're going to see people who understand how to walk that line, which I think are the next generation, Pluto X generation. We are the generation that ultimately had to walk with lines, with divorce, everything. Everything was kind of splitting in our life that we're trying to put it back together. And we're made for it, and we have to learn it for ourselves anyways. Because for us, the people who have Pluto and Libra, Gen X, you don't know how to be fair to yourself. That's the problem.
True.
So, and then that's the problem. It's not that you aren't nice people. It's that you give too much away. And so in a way, it's our fault. We need to pull on the rope a little bit. With the generation, we just tighten up our budget of giving, then, the whole world's going to feel because we've all been overgiving. That is, those born who were raised in the 80s.
Yeah.
And the 80s was affluence. It was affluent. In a way, it was affluent back then when I grew up. Affluent in the sense of these are the kids, the baby boomers kids had kids. And so, and they all had 3 kids, in my generation. They all had 3 kids in the 70s. They all had big houses and pools and all this kind of shit. We were raised with that kind of idea. And then the 80s, with Mr. Drummond and what was that? What's that show? Where he's adopting a black kid who was what you talking about, Willis? There was just
Different Strokes.
People are wealthy, and people, and this is kind of perception of wealth in the 80s, which is, we're kind of so I look back, I'm kind of cheap, feels cheap, But anyways, we're all feeling rich and doing coke apparently, and and at the same time, but that's what I grew up in, and so I think for us, we know the world fucked up. The generation line would be you want someone in there who's been in there fucking on that war zone of crazy and pulled themselves out. That's the leader he's next, No, seriously, our Gen X.
Did you even take a breath with all that?
Oh no, that was a dissertation. No, I've been passionate about this. I've been talking about this a lot, actually.
No, I get it. No, I'm totally with you on that. 100%. I'm totally with you on that. But we have actually a couple words from our sponsors before we get into coming what you're talking about, the collective weather and zodiac weather coming up. So we have a couple words from our sponsors. Let's get it going.
Did you know that discordant energies such as illness, trauma, violence, and depression can linger on a property for hundreds of years, going all the way back to the very beginning of that parcel of land? This can also happen with family heirlooms, antiques, or previously owned furniture. If you've been feeling blocked in life, more ill than usual, or just uncomfortable in your home, your space could be holding on to residual energies. Refresh My Property can help clear these energies remotely. Scan the QR code to get your free phone consultation today and begin clearing your space and your life.
You started your business for freedom, but somewhere along the way, it turned into chaos. You're trying to fit your unique vision into someone else's blueprint, and it's leaving you feeling overwhelmed and second-guessing your every move. That's exactly why we created From Chaos to Clarity, your 12-week live business intensive. We give you the courage to claim your voice, the clarity to build your unique framework, and the conviction to lead your business your way. You'll get live power hours to hone your strategy and weekly accountability sprints to make sure the work actually gets done. Stop following, start building. You don't need to do it all alone. Clarity is closer than you think.
Are you looking for inspiration to grow your conscious business? Seers Joy's Board of Light is a sacred alliance of lightworkers, visionaries, and spiritual leaders dedicated to awakening conscious leadership. Our next lineup of guests is ready to take you on that journey of spiritual enlightenment. Next quarter guests include Sofia Del Gigante, branding specialist, founder of Rising Creative Studio, beginning in November. Then in December, join us for Jillian McKenzie, spiritual strategist and soul project manager. In January, start your new year off right with Nelly Garcia, creative relaunch BFF. Don't miss this profound lineup of wisdom. Join now for only $250 per year and be a part of the enlightened professional re-evolution. What are you waiting for?
The evolution. Hi, we're back. I think we're talking about astrology too.
That's your yes. What's the zodiac weather for the week?
Well, it's going to be a bear of a week. Actually, it starts today. I think the energy of the full moon at 13 is calling for things to go to a higher level. And higher level is your feelings about how much you are supported. Your feelings about if you have enough. This is literally material stuff. The full moon in Taurus. This is the Halloween new moon, really. And so this is technically, according to pagan ritual, this is New Year's Eve right now. So this full moon is a break. Now, this particular New Year says between the 2 years that we're having, so to speak, we're going to go up a whole nother level where all of us are dealing with abundance on a greater level. And that may just be the fact that you sit down in front of an AI machine, and you feel you have abundant wisdom at your feet. So it may be something just to that effect that abundance of knowledge, opens things up. But we're going to feel like we want more and go to another level. So the Sun in Scorpio then says, okay, we have to draw some boundaries because, you obviously gets us here and not tight enough there. And, emotionally, you're not really, being strong. And that's what it comes down to is, to emotionally be strong, you have to think ahead of time for your feelings. You have to think that you might be upset. You have to plan not to be upset. And this is where you slowly construct, boundaries that guide your feelings into a solid place all the time. So that's the work, Scorpio, and I think we do that work this week. So to wrap up, Scott, we commit this week to what we want. And then by Friday, we're kind of going, okay, we'll shift. I can maybe go farther than I want, or I was aiming too high. I don't know if this is heading towards a future that's realistic. Those kind of questions come up because we want out, but then we see how far we can go. And then maybe we don't want out. Yeah. Jupiter and Mercury both retrograde this week too. So things move inside out. That's on Sunday. You'll lose your Mercury.
Yeah, and I've been saying for this week ahead too, there's gonna be a high emphasis on your environment, your space. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of people are probably gonna want to do something with their homes, maybe clean things up a bit, or they might feel like they've been wanting to move or relocate, and not necessarily you're gonna do it now, but I think you might start projecting that, start thinking about areas you want to visit. So there's gonna be a lot of introspection about environment, and not even just with your living environment, just people you want to be around. And I think that's the starting point of we talk about setting those boundaries, because when you start involving yourself with the vibe and the people that you do enjoy, then it's a no-brainer to get rid of the things that you don't enjoy. It's a no-brainer to cut and sever those ties in a sense. And so, and not always do we have to sever ties. Sometimes you have to learn to keep people at arm's length and say, you know what, they're person that's valuable in my life, but maybe not so close. So right now we're going to be very introspective and feeling the need to be around community, to change our environment. So I would say, please pay attention to this. Please put yourself in the position. If you say you want to go to the beach or go to some place nice, do it. Really push yourselves to do that, because it's going to be a starting point when we change our environment, change our energy. Then we definitely start activating newer downloads, and we start seeing things a little differently to attract different things. So yeah, this week has more so keeping it simple about your environment and picking the ones that you maybe have never explored yet. So
I think that's a way to. I always think that's a way to guide life, because if you honestly, your life is a reflection of who you are. So if you choose out of the moment, you're being led to your destiny. You are, one step at a time, basically. So it's got, and actually that's where we are. I think everyone's there because we're moving into uncharted territory. So really everyone's choosing every step, carefully right now. I think that's a big thing. And as far as saying goodbye to stuff, I mean, I don't know. I see all sorts of different reasons. I see some people who just created a drama and left on that. I was like, what? You just, what was that? You parachuted out with that? And I was like, oh, it's one easy out, one easy out. I was like, okay. So I'm seeing things end. I know they will end. I think for some people, simply the cast that you had was the people who were there to get you to learn these healing. And you're either healed or not. That's that, you're just okay, we're pulling out. That was all we're going to do. Oh, it's just 12 years, yes, just 12 years. We're sorry. We give you 12 years to do it. So, that's really Jupiter's one route, too, around, the clock. So, so again, we're moving. We're all moving on up, and then here's what's interesting: Saturn in Pisces and Neptune in Pisces. They just moved back into Pisces, right? They were in Aries for a minute, giving us a lot of strength. So we're feeling strong, and our ego is kind of our ego is having intuition behind it, Neptune. So our ego has intuition. Our ego is like making good guesses. And then like Saturn is that strength. It's like you sit right up in your chair and like you're ready to call a shop. So we felt like this few months of Aries. And that was like a little taste of what you're going to get, during the Unity Wars, basically. You're going to have that strength behind you. But now that we're back in Pisces, like, okay, you see your strength back. So you sure you want to do what you're doing? Are you sure?
Right.
That's what it's going to be. And from now between the years, like, are you sure? And the truth of the answer is, if your heart wants it, then yes, be sure. Like, all you have to do is, your heart wants it, then you are sure. Trust me. Yeah. I don't know anyone who actually is sure, like you might think of it as like certain it's going to happen, except you have this knowing inside yourself that it always does. Yeah. And you pay attention, it always has.
And I think also too, like every ending doesn't have to be a bad ending. So we're ready to move on and elevate or start. You don't have to like screw that, or it could be like, hey, like when I did musical theater and we were done with the show, like, oh man, like it was a good time, and we can move on to our things and to a next show the next year. So same thing. Like I love you use the word cast, because it's so true. That was a cast then. Now you're in a different play, different stage, and so and I think sometimes people have to make a closing ending like hard for them. It's like, don't, like, be accepting. It's all good, But there's going to be a lot of that, though, this week, next week, ahead of that, closing those chapters and bringing the new cast in.
I have had new cast come in all year. I mean, I met some amazing, there's people moving in Palm Springs here. So people I meet them, like, well, you're here, moving here, or you live here? Like, so it's been that. And they're all people that are very useful in the sense of like expertise I don't have. So like, I'm definitely seeing, we're being set up for the next chapter. And really, we should focus on our health energetically and really just rebooting ourselves, because get in shape, because the next round, whatever you thought your life is about, no, it wasn't. That was healing. This actually was about. So it's kind of a bait and switch with the universe. You're like, oh, sorry, it's different than we thought. But I think it's exciting. I mean, some of the stuff that's open for me, and I'll stop here. It's all very exciting. It's not something I'm not at all, regretting or going into.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it's very exciting to me too, because, even like September, like being a Virgo rising, September was hard on me. Like I just hit with illness, everything slowed down, like introspection. But I instead of taking it as a kick in the gut, I was just like, you know what, I'm making some changes here. And I was going to say too about setting boundaries, as we get into the topic a little bit about boundaries, is that it's not just about boundaries. We tend to think about other people, like set boundaries with other people, but I had to set boundaries with myself. Like, what am I doing? Like, I want to have better financial gains, and I should be having that. So I got to set boundaries of what I'm spending, or set boundaries of what I'm not doing. And so I took charge of a lot. And when that September kicked me in the gut. So now I feel like, oh my gosh, so much more openings for me. So, So to answer the question, what is boundaries? Like, we'll get into that after the break, because tomorrow I have my live show. So as every Thursday, and it's called Gifted or Grifted. So I want to kind of dive deep. We're in an age of sensationalism, and a lot of people come to me and say they spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a TikTok psychic with millions of views, but they were horrible. Why? So we'll get into the reasons why they're real psychics. Are they good, bad, or just not psychic? So I'll get into the differences between the two and how you can spot out the real versus the fake, and I'll also be doing live one-on-one readings too, as well as a collective overcast for November as well. So tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, every week. So. And that's that. Oh, and here's a little promo I made with AI. It's amazing what AI can do.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I don't know how you get the cues out of your acting. That's a very good thing.
See, I go from heaven to hell.
So sorry for you. We have Scott Kebabs for dinner tonight. That's funny. Oh, and today I'm promoting for the last time. Get on the wait list. We are actually sending out invitations. I have a new site going live here over the weekend. I'm super excited about it.
All right.
My new world order. But this is a lecture that is really sharpened up, because I'm doing a step astrology class right now, and I've just really perfected this. I'm going to look at some steps and the steps to the new world order, and then if you want to do the extra workshop after, then you can look at your chart, and I'll show you here are your steps in the new world order. This takes about 2 years of planning in the future. So you'll walk away with 2 years of, I think, solid planning.
Nice.
That's New World Order. New World Order spelled the KNEW. The whole thing is like we knew all along. I think I don't know. This could be my mistake. I mean, but we society have always been thinking forward. And the truth is, I think Atlantis and stuff. It's like we actually have to go back. Like we actually perhaps the awakening is our history, who we are, and like who we really are. And that to me is like, wow, we always knew it too. But you'll see it. It was in our dreams, it was in our movies, and everywhere. We've been talking about it like subconsciously and winking at each other about it for so long. And I think to some degree, society goes, whoa. Oh my goodness, and that'd be fun to live through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's
That's
what
exciting. That's an exciting program. That's pretty cool.
Thank you, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right,
I'm
you're back.
excited. I'm excited.
I was going to roll a video or something, so we're back. Oh, great.
When you're this busy, you're just dying to do the projects you want to do. So that's what it is. How as an artist, like I've been dying to do this for so long. I've been so busy with these other things that I promised. So it's just fun to do that. It's like creativity. Creativity is flowing through my heart right now. It feels so good right now.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I'm just like the music is flowing out of me right now, and so I'm really excited about like the new message, new sound, new stuff. So I've been waiting on it for a while. And like September, like said, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you doing music? And so I got so lost in other things. Like, okay, I got it. So and I always tell people too, like people set some boundaries with themselves, yes, but a lot of times people don't pursue things because they feel like it's not gonna get any kind of monetary value or not become well known. It's like, but that's not why we have to do everything. Like sometimes we have to do things to expand our souls ourselves so we can do and participate in other ways because we feel fulfilled. And so I think that we have to start looking at doing things that fulfill us, not what is this end goal financially, or is it going to turn into something big? It doesn't matter. It may. A lot of times it does, but I think people hold themselves back because they're just like, oh well, it's just for me. And like, exactly, it should be just for you.
You're here. You are here. Who you're here for? I mean, the idea that we're supposed to give our life away to anybody is stupid. We're really not. Everyone gets their life. They all have the same options. They all have the same programs they can take. But I think we have to get in emotional shape. Here's the deal: like, there's going to be a period where it's like your performance that comes down to what it is. I don't care how much prepared, smart, whatever. So much comes at you. It comes down to how well you're like, in the old days on a horse and, can handle a sword. Today it's like how well you can handle being smart, thinking, making choices with your feelings and your gut. Yeah. Making yourself the only person who makes the decision, the only person who knows the most, giving yourself back the authority of being the one that knows. That has to happen where you're like, I know better. But you know better, and that's what we teach a serious story. Like we'll teach you how to draw the boundaries, first of all. There's lots of tricks. One boundary is I'll tell my brain, you know what, we can think about this at 10 p.m. and I forget. And just that little boundary there, my mind's like, oh, good, I get off of it. Like I have an excuse. It's a silly game, but now I have an excuse. I have an excuse to put it off in a very strategic way. That's a boundary. You just drew a line between yourself and yourself. It holds itself together, and you have to think in that kind of way. Yeah. Yeah,
I agree. And I think it's all about wisdom is going to be the currency moving forward.
Yes.
Because once AI can do everything else, wisdom will be our currency. And you don't gain wisdom just by like repeating stuff. And that's the part of why I inspired to do the show I was doing, because a lot of people just parroting stuff that's been recycled and think they're a guru or a leader, and they're really not. But it's the wisdom that I think is going to let people shine, because AI would take up all the mundane thing. The one thing we're going to be missing is the wisdom and how to really express and format and maneuver through life and world and solve problems in that sense. So yeah, I think that's why we should be setting boundaries now, so we can experience what we need to experience, so we can gain more wisdom and insight into the self, which is, of course, the universe, right? Universe.
We're not too wise about boundaries right now. Wisdom doesn't seem coming like this form of boundaries at all. But I think boundaries have to be self-regulated. That's the truth. You're supposed to master your own self, your own energy, and this takes time and it takes practice, and it takes being personal in the system where nowhere do we tell a child, hey, here's how you listen to your feelings, and if they're going this way, maybe you can cheer yourself up. If they're going this way, maybe you can. We don't never. Right? With 12 years in public school, we never tell them that once. So it's like, right. Yeah, but I think it's a fascinating time. The point is, I'll leave with this. This is a remarkable time for opportunity. If you believe in yourself, then go for it. You have to absolutely go for it right now. I mean, that is our go for it, like 100%, because the tools are there. And the thing is, people are so confused and so distracted, frankly, that you can build something really good and have very little resistance. Because when people aren't bored, they're going to be bored and at home, and how they were in COVID, people are going to be really active, bouncing off the walls, all doing different things in this period we're about to go through. And so in that time, it's like, your family's too busy to be yelling at you. Go, do it.
Yeah.
Making your aware, do it. It's an opportunity where you can, like the beginning of .com boom, similar.
Yeah.
This moment now with AI means that everything .com is questionable. Everything. Not only that, but the thing you'll use will write itself.
Yeah.
It'll write itself. He's like, with this idea, it's like, good idea. Here's how you do it. It tells me all the time, here's how you do it. It's like, that's the other thing. YouTube videos, like how to fix this and how to fix that. I mean, some you have to have visual, but like most of the time, I'm like, I'll ask about some software or something. I'm like, so when I get to this, I have to deal with this. I have to fucking deal with that. No, you don't. It's real simple. It's like, oh, good, sweet. It's like having an executive assistant. Like, thanks. Go look at it and see what's wrong with it. Now, it's wrong a lot. It's certainly wrong a lot about products and services. Like, in the sense of like, it's like, I know there's pennies. I'm like, there's still pennies.
I'm like, the label says it here. You're wrong. Like, yeah, I've had it so counter to the actual label. As I tried it out, I'm like, no, and then I have to update it. And it says, thank you for that. Thank you, Scott. And so, but yeah, but leading to our topic, because we're going to need to, set the boundaries of how to understand boundaries between AI, our creative expressions, right? So what is your definition of boundaries? What would you classify boundaries to be?
The boundaries are really the space between space and time both. So step zero is the boundaries in space and time. Boundaries is zero. So you remember God built the universe out of circles anyways. So boundaries basically an orbit or a circle within a circle, like a cell within a within a within a amoeba, within this and within that, within a circle pond. It's like on a circle Earth. Like everything is circle, and that's and so circle is zero. It represents consciously like the line. Like there is no line. It's actually a circle. It's never straight. It's actually always turning. It's always going directions. And as you ascend, it becomes a corkscrew of a circle. So zero is. Hey man, this is my standard speech. So zero is like it turns out that if you really want to be creative on the fly in the moment, I say this joke all the time. Like Jesus had to say, "Hey, don't turn the apostles into red wine, just the water in the glass." That'd be funny. That's a boundary. That's a boundary when it comes to like sophisticated. You don't see him doing it, can't you?
My God!
You have to say where things stop. You have to say, and that's what the base is. Step zero is like you have to, before you just begin, you have to say where it'll stop. Before it begins, you have to say it'll stop.
Oh, now I'm going to go on Grok and take the 12 disciples and have them turn into wine. Now I'm going to do the Grok video about that. I'll return next week with
so
the
good.
product.
Do it. It's funny.
But even with your, I agree, because boundaries for me, I like to think of threshold too. I think that people just set walls. I like to, you get to know your personal threshold. Like, how much can you take? Can you really take enough like people around you all the time? Can you take giving to people so much? What is your threshold? And so I think we understand our threshold, then it's easier for us to set those boundaries. And so I just say boundaries is your threshold, and also understanding your own personal limitations. And I don't. People seem to think limitation as a negative word. No, I'm glad we have limitations, in the physical sense, because it allows us to be more focused on things we can really expand on. So I like to define boundaries as that. Your threshold, your limitations, healthy limitations, and then you could actually really define what the boundaries really are, set those walls. Because I think of walls with boundaries for some reason,
No, walls are it, they're square, but I think the way you go about it is use your feelings as your judge. And that's the thing. That's the secret to it. Like this is what teaches your feelings will tell you, like, how do you feel about it being a million? Oh, I like that. How do you feel about 5 million? We're talking about a fine. Oh, so it's like your feelings will tell you where consciously, just like AI, they are very intelligent. You feel exactly where you'll be comfortable. You throw some ideas in your eyes and you're like, oh, okay, about this far. This is my threshold. You determine it. So a lot of people try to determine feelings by their thoughts in their mind. Determine their boundaries, and they're like, how about this? And they're just guessing numbers that maybe they've seen or maybe observed.
right.
Just kind of it's like that's where your mind has no business. Your mind is not the fucking force. Like, it's not going to tell you exact numbers. It's not AI, but your feelings will tell you. Really, you'll find it's like, how about if you see her 2 times a week? Yeah, 1 time a week. It tells you how comfortable you are. And if you're not comfortable, here's the thing. I think this is a problem. If you're not comfortable, there's something wrong with you. Your feelings are telling you you're not comfortable.
Yeah, that's your threshold. When you feel uncomfortable, you're going past your threshold, and that's your boundary. And like, oh, that's the boundary because I can't go that far. Yeah. So the uncomfortable energy, like I could use the analogy of like when you're driving on a freeway and you like fall asleep, you're in those bumps in the road, they kind of shake you and snap you up. Like that's the boundary. You thank God for that. So. And we talked last week about fear and all that stuff. And then fear is a great way to let you know what a boundary is too, if you're going in the wrong direction. And so, yeah, I totally agree. Like we should understand the uncomfortable energy. And so many people are so comfortable not uncomfortable. And that's, then people say, how do you get out of that? It's like, well, you talk to people like Christopher and I to help you, to guide you to realize you are, and then get you out of that. So we do need inspiration around.
For my clients and our subscribers and clients, like I'm telling everyone now, forget the altar for a minute. An altar, forget it for a second. Because I'm a new approach to spirituality altogether. What's sacred is like what we call the vault. Like go into a place that's like the vault in your house. It's like sacred. It's like safe. You can feel how safe it is. Like no one would find you in there if there's a problem. You can feel that you're like protecting that energy. That's the best energy to plant memory and stuff. So every morning in that space, say I'm protected here. I'm protected here. I'm protected here. I'm protected here. Now here's the thing: if you just say I am protected here, here, and here, for that day, you'll find that you are. And the more you watch, the more you say, oh my God, like it's almost like things you'll see in a way, at some point, spirit conspire to like get you okay. and you start seeing some of the magic of the moment. But it's a day intention. That's it. But it's a way to see boundaries, and you'll see for yourself how your life draws a line for you. So I think boundary conscious has to do with partly step 0. We have some commandment over our world. We really do. We really have commandment over our world. It's already happening. It's just happening subconsciously, and we're not aware if we're pulling the levers, but we're already doing it, and we're just not aware of how and the how-tos. And I think that's what's important. Go back to your discussion. We create reality, and there's got to be a way to do it. Let's figure it out.
Well, and some people, ask, how do you know if your set of boundaries too high or too low? So I don't know about low boundaries, but I guess we understand maybe threshold. But if you feel isolated, and sometimes people need to go in isolation to either grieve, right, or to make sense of a very challenging period, but we tend to put ourselves in isolation till we put these walls around us, and we create unconscious boundaries. But so when you're not meeting the love of your life, when you're alone, right? Why am I not in a relationship, people say. And so we have to also understand that, unconsciously we create boundaries because of protection. A lot of people think isolation is a bad people. It's an internal response to protect ourselves, right? So we also be conscious when we're doing that too. This way we understand, well, I've isolated. Let me kind of open up a little bit more. And a low boundary is when you obviously have just people like taking, you're the doormat, taking a dump on you left and right. That should be pretty obvious. And when you're not finding people are there to support you, you're not finding people are there to help and assist you, and they're not really focusing on you, chances are your boundaries are set too low, threshold or standards, same thing.
You're speaking to my heart. All my heartbreak is that I realize I give away way too much and all kinds of stuff in this particular transit.
Yeah, but you have like a doggy door. Like you have good boundaries, and then you have this doggy door that then they just sneak into the doggy door. You let them in, and then you close the doggy door. Like that's what you do.
They're cute.
Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, whatever. So I think I don't know. Sometimes I even joke about Tauruses. Like a Taurus has got to mess up 10 times before we realize this is wrong for us. Like 9, 10. Okay, all right, that's fine. I can see the evidence now. No, I don't know. It's about learning all sides of the problem. I think at the end of the day, don't be hard on yourself. I'll say that. It's okay. It doesn't matter how many times it takes you to learn something. You will learn it. You'll finally comprehend it. And I think a lot of times the more brilliant you are, the more complicated you made life, the more complicated, there's more spaces where you mess up, and because you're like looking at all these quantum areas, and so you're like, oh, boundaries way up here. Geez, that's a weird one, but it sure let a lot of crap in, So I think we're learning, but I think we're about to make a quantum leap. I think many people are about to leap ahead tremendously. I mean, I'm talking about, I predict like a huge burst forth in just talent, like music talent, all this stuff. Yes, AI is helping it, but to go back to your point, wisdom is a huge thing. Creativity is going to be as big as wisdom. Like creativity, where like you're just like, whoa, who came up with that idea? That is also a cool new area where, because you have the tools, you just need the idea, and you can do cool stuff, and it really is. Yeah, it's going to get better. So I think it's going to be interesting in those regards. That's where the fun part of the next chapter is. That when we're free of these things that we know don't see. Once you feel safe, you're gonna feel ready to play, like really play. Yeah, your child wants to come out and have fun. Yeah.
Well, that's important to boundaries, is because a lot of people don't know what they want. They don't know what their ideas are, right? They don't know what they actually are capable of expanding or participating in life with. So we got to kind of maybe put some boundaries in where we don't have so much distraction or noise, so then we can hear ourselves. And a lot of people fill their spaces with noise because they're afraid of hearing the echoes of their own voice, right? They're afraid of this. And I'm saying that's one thing I reach for. I reach to hear my own voice and the echoes of my own voice, which is your soul, right? It's your intuition, your source. And so, some people are afraid to hear that. I'm like, that's where it's all at. That's where it's all at, And so
your own voice is your wisdom. Yeah.
Not multiple voices, but your own voice.
Right.
Unless you're a medium like me, we hear so many voices.
Well, it's not even a voice. It's like, to be honest, it's like when I get a psychic message, it's kind of like I'm getting it to the part of me that interprets the sound. It's not. I'm not getting to the sound. I'm not really hearing it, but I'm hearing like the message just comes. The conscious, the meat of it comes, but like I don't remember hearing any voices really. My mind will actually start to maybe mimic it or play games with that. But usually there's so much coming in. It's just realization, like just comes in a sentence like that for me. But see, now I'm paying more attention to that stuff right now too. Exactly your point. I'm like, it's interesting how it works. Well, boundaries, there's lots of boundaries. First of all, there's physical boundaries. So the idea is, how do you put again a physical boundary? That's probably the easiest because, you put up a sign,
turn that red light off,
Totally. And time's another one. It's like, if a person's really giving you trouble, it's like, I'm going to work with you, but I need about a week. Like that alone is like you're setting a boundary. Now, a week is a good space time, like good time where they can like figure some shit out, maybe cool the fuck down, kind of thing. Like, and it's about it's like, well, I can't have a week. Come on, I want to come at my best self. Time is a good boundary, like, and that's what they do in courts. They just create like boundary of time. These time is a boundary. Like, I file for this, I file for that. Just wearing down whatever party is wearing what party down. So time is a good one for space.
Yeah, I agree. But also, if you think, even just think physically too, we have to also understand setting boundaries with our own bodies, with health. Because, and like a lot of us go so extreme, like get so extreme healthy, so be so restrictive in diet, then they can't maintain that, and they go back to this kind of like other extremity. So I think we don't have to be, our bodies can take a little bit of shit. And that's one thing I've realized. Like, I'll let myself have a little bit of fried chicken if I want to, right? You know what I'm saying? But for the majority of the time, I'm taking care of my body. And I feel like it's okay to understand your body needs something to process too, right? And so, but just understanding the boundaries of your health. It doesn't be so extreme and don't be so complacent about it, right? So I would say being a conscious eater. So our physical bodies, when we put the care into our physical bodies and our health, that does allow us to focus more on our time, because when we find ways to teach our consciousness that my well-being comes first, we'll do it in other areas. We won't spend time on shit that's not valuable, and that's one thing. Health was a great outlet for me to kind of set better boundaries for myself, because of you really teach yourself about self-care, right? When you focus on your health and it's conscious, because that's an intellectual thing, but also an actual physical thing too. You're thinking about it, you're putting time into it, and then you're eating it, right? So I think it's a good tool. Health is a good tool to teach you about physical boundaries and other avenues.
I don't. I started young. It's not very physical at all. Feeling dumb, couldn't catch a ball, all that sort of thing. But then once I finally kind of grew up into a man's body, I realized like, I can invest in my body. I can just invest in it. And so I looked at it from the very beginning as an investment. Like, I need to invest in this thing, And once I invested, I was amazed. The body just pays off. Like it just pays. And performs. And when you have invested in the body, boy, it feels better to be you all day. That's for sure. Because you kind of enjoy being your body. You kind of enjoy walking down the street. You kind of enjoy it because everything's looking good, and it's working all right. It's like, damn, it's really nice. So
you just gave me like Zoolander vibes, like going down the street like Zoolander.
Well, I say, hey, do it, y'all. It's time to get in shape. I'm telling you, this is a renaissance. I feel renaissance is a good word because renaissance is limited. Even this is like taking the roof off renaissance, like. Sky, not even sky, universe, galaxies, dimensions, a limit. This is a huge human consciousness explosion. So emotional boundaries, I think is really the problem. Honestly, that's the problem. I say the problem is we don't know how to emotionally cope. We don't. No one knows it. No one knows it. I mean, every client I help, including myself, and people help me, I'm trying to emotionally cope with something. It's like my feelings are, I don't like feeling bad, and I'm a guy that coaches it, and I'm still stuck in that sea. And so emotional boundaries are important. What I teach is that you have to do 3 boundaries, actually. The first boundary, go, okay, this is how I feel. You have to declare this is how you feel. If you don't declare how you feel, you can't put your arms around it. And it's okay if you change it, just have one. Like, I feel this way, I feel this way, now I feel this way. So you declare how you feel. Then you have to declare, how do you want to feel? Because that's never filed up there in the universe for a flight plan. Like, no one's like, I want to feel better. There's like, I feel this. There's like this reaffirming. Where are we going with this? Like, what do we want to do? What do we want to transmute? So I protect, okay, hold that space in the future, please, God. Like, that's the boundary. And then the other boundary is like, okay, you two, you guys go off in the corner and talk and tell me when it's done. And like, ultimately, your feelings will mostly, just with your intention of those 2 places, will start to do it all day. It just starts to like, oh, and like lets out a little anger thing. And it's just, believe it or not, you will relax into that position. Tomorrow, do it again and repeat. I think that's about emotional boundary. But you're talking about a progressed cancer now. I'm like a step 8 or step 9 cancer now, which means if you guys don't know, you like go into other signs after your sign runs out. It's a degree for every year of your life. So, being my old age, I'm now a 9-degree cancer, which I'm a 9, which is kind of cool. But the point is, like, I had to go through all the emotional stuff, rework it last 9 years, and I was a baby. I didn't know. So.
Right. Well, I think it's important for us when we think about emotions and what we're experiencing, we have to always find the balance point of something, right? So this way you understand there's extreme left and right of it, right? And there's a yin and yang to it. And so like I said last time about characteristics, like you could have a personality trait that you're sensitive, but then you could either be in a disempowered state of sensitivity where you take everything personally, it's all about you can't and there's another side of sensitivity where you have empathy to people. And there's a lot of empaths or empath, but they say, what's your balance balance point with being an empath. So
Yeah.
you understand you can be overly giving and being taken advantage of and be a doormat, or you can be so detached and not feeling emotions. And so where's your balance point with that? It's like, I care, I help, but it's not about everybody else too. I think when we talk about balance, I want to be more specific that we attach a balance point to everything that we're experiencing emotionally, whether it's in a deprivation or a negative, right, or positive or negative. And I think that'll help us see, where do I sit in the spectrum? Everything has a spectrum of things. And so instead of being positive or negative, it's like, where am I in the spectrum? So you can gauge better and set better boundaries. Like, oh, I am too on the giving side. Let's really back in a little bit here. And having that balance is what we're here to master. Right? That's our mastery within this physical reality, is the mastering of objectivity of whatever the channel of consciousness is. We're here to master that and not be so far left, right on anything. And so, and that's why I think it's very unique that we're dealing with left and right politics right now, because it's so in alignment and parallel to our soul's evolution of learning the objectivity through a dichotomy like that. So, that's that what I'd say emotional.
I'm claiming the rights to this idea right now. It's mine. Well, I mean, I want to do like third eye news. I realized over the weekend, I'm like, we need the third eye news. Like, because third eye is like, center of the two sides and up, like above and center. It's like, and I thought, news ought to have the law. You have three perspectives, not one, like three, not even two anymore. Like, I think we need like first people to go, you mean you can do it three ways? Like, you sure can. You can do it unlimited ways. Like, it's like, yes. But I think it has to be, seen from another perspective, like one more to break that too. And so if anything, we went to one and all kinds of things like that. So it's true. You have ultimately the deciding focus is it's the Goldilocks thing. It's really just Goldilocks as far as which one is just right. The just right one is usually the balanced one, Scott. Like, it's like, if it's just right, it just feels just right. It is. Your natural center is, your natural self is centered basically. And so it's about listening to that self that knows exactly what feels right. And that is the center for you.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, and that kind of coincides with mentally too, right? Because emotion is kind of like really derives from a mental, I would say this: we have to understand not every logic that we possess is acute to our soul growth. And so our subconscious is filled with logic that's created from past experiences, and that logic is created from also a lot of negative past experiences. And so I like to use the example of, if you're abused by a loved one, your brain creates a logic that is, to be loved is to be abused. So I have to avoid love at all costs. That's a logic that's created from your past experience. But is that helpful? Is that productive to your overall growth? No. So we have to understand, identify mentally the logic that we possess, and if it's acute to our soul growth and evolution, or at least to growth overall in general. Is it rational? And we all these programs, subconscious programs that we're like unconsciously following for no reason. We're in loops, doing loops and stuff. And so if we allow ourselves to, I just need to be conscious of where I'm at, like we were saying before, feeling that, engaging that, then I think we could start understanding how to pluck out the subconscious mental, hurdles that we have and oppressions.
So observing yourself, I think you're right on. Step system says that thoughts are number 5 and feelings are 2. So every thought is based on a feeling.
Yeah.
No, it's not the other way around. So if you have a feeling and that inspires your mind, the feeling inspires your mind. And so in that way, the feeling is actually the grandpa, like the one that knows, is the wisest. The wisdom is in the feeling, but you have to like kind of stick your hands in the emotion and just kind of feel around, because it's a complex, feelings upon this, my feelings about that. We're interacting with my feelings about that. Like, it's actually very, very complex consciousness, and humans are very new at it. But as readers that we both are, that's what I'm doing. I'm in front of the client. I get a feeling. I'm like, well, that's the feeling. This is not burglary. This is not, like, you literally kind of like tune in like a radio to a sensation. And as you try to tune, I'm led to the conscious thought that's trying to come across. So I think mental boundaries are a little more tougher, because for me, the only way I could do mental boundaries, I remember I went through a transit where I was trying to clean up my mind, and my mind back then was very negative. Like, oh, stupid, that sucks. It's going to be, seriously, I was always like that. And I was like, okay, that's it. I got to stop this. Saturn's in my 3rd house. I'm like, every time it screws up, you have to rewrite it. You have to rewrite it and say it. That was my little game. That was my boundary structure. So I rewrite it and say it. And it was, for a while, it was okay. And then it started to get really fucking annoying. And then I saw, oh my God, I can't stop this. And I was getting tired. Finally my brain, like my brain finally fucking submitted. Like, I was like, okay. And at that point, like, stop jumping to conclusions. But it was like I had to brainwash myself. I had to I guess deprogram.
Yeah, and that's again, if we don't do that work, we're gonna be pushed in a position, burnout, Sometimes our
Oh,
soul's like, I'll throw my body around into an accident, sure, to learn, you know.
oh, yeah.
So things will get rough, you know, physically in that, and that leads us to the last one about spiritually too. You know, I think a lot of people when they think about, you know, spiritual boundaries, the older New Age, I would say older, more like 5 years ago, it was like, oh, high vibe only, and it's like that's not setting proper boundaries. Spirituality is being encompassing all and being okay with all, and not being affected by all. So I think even spiritually, we do have to identify it's about self growth, and so anything that's preventing your self growth is spirituality, is what spirituality is about, basically. So you want to define that. And if people are not, I'm sure you get questions like this too. I'm with a partner who's not spiritually inclined. So what? Are they supportive? They helping you grow? Are they also, you know, helping to evolve? Then that's all that matters. And so I think people tend to think that they have to be spiritual people around them too. And the more I've evolved, I realized I have more intellectual, wise conversations with people who are not spiritual. And they may be spiritual, just don't know it. And so I think we just have to redefine that spirituality. It's about just evolution, growth, period. Nothing more than that.
I think it's
You know?
spiritual self-realization. So how self-realized are you? We are spirit,
Yeah.
period. That's it.
Right.
But if you don't pay attention to it, you don't pay attention to it. You know, one thing about those people who, like, you know, married the spiritual woman is that I think he knew what he was doing. He's like, yeah, not spiritual, so she's good for me. You know, like he's like, he's got it covered. She's got that covered, and she got that covered. You know, it's like they just kind of, they are spiritual. They chose you. You know, like, that was their spiritual choice. Like, for them, that's all you need to do is choose the right good woman with the good, you know, whatever, good soul, and that was it for them. That's as much as they knew in a lot of cases. But we're about to wake up on such a feel like feel like we'll have proof of death. I mean, I think we're gonna have some scientific proof of reincarnation. Something like that's going to be probably the big shebang, because when that happens and everyone goes, "Oh, wait, this is true that we are in a simulation. This is just a game they're playing over and over again." Whoa. I mean, at that moment, the world kind of a wave of like, you know, like you see in the Matrix, a wave of like, well, I don't know what to do, right? Kind of thing. Each person will handle it, and when they're ready, kind of thing. That's the kind of like, you know, where we wake up and we're like, what? That was a dream? I thought that was life. You know, like, whoa, you know, and that is kind of, I've had those ahas in little tiny pockets the last few weeks, like really last 2 weeks. Where it's just like, whoa, I suddenly saw something I had never seen. I'm like, I can't believe I never saw that. It's just like suddenly you just get that bigger picture.
Yeah.
So boundaries are like marking that. So you want to draw a boundary and go, okay, I've grown. I'm over this. I'm done with this. Stop it. I'm not going to do this pattern anymore. So to me, spiritual boundaries like when you mark, like when you've grown, and you got to like draw a line there. Like, okay, that's it. I'm not going back there again. Nope. You know, and you draw that line between the old you and new you. You know, spiritually.
Well, and to wrap it up with the final thoughts, I think if people want to understand like how they know if they're, you know, if setting boundaries or not, or need to pay attention to your emotions. And I would say emotions don't rule everything. They're results of things. They're results of how you've been habitually thinking. So it renders emotion. So I would say focus renders a thought, which renders an emotion. And so then the feeling. So your emotions are not set in stone. So if you like the emotion, great. If you don't like the emotion, find out what you're thinking and what you've been focusing on that's been rendering such, and then say to yourself, what boundary do I have to set? What is my point of balance with this circumstance? And then you understand the act of setting boundaries would be so easy, like innate to you. And it's not that complicated. But if we understand the process of thinking and how to follow it back in that way, then we'll be so clear about the boundary setting. And when we make those realizations, we will do it without reservation. That's my final thoughts.
That's a great final thought. That's
Trying to speed it.
No, it's good. It's good. I uploaded it. It's like, you know, my answer.
It's like 2 minutes past. We gotta go.
Yeah. Well, we're giving. Why don't we set the boundary? You know. Why don't we set it? My final thought is
Morgan setting it. Yeah.
You'd be surprised. It's like boundaries are a huge thing I was dumb at, and this is Scorpio boundaries. And here's the thing: it's just that the Matrix, you know, it's in the secret, no, it's anywhere. This is the magic of step 0. We teach is like, if you set out before you set out, if you say this is where it stops and this is where it starts, your chance of success is by like 60% higher. And it doesn't matter if you change the start and stop date. It's that the universe is like more comfortable investing in you when you have had those beginning ends set. And from that point on, I found so much grows. And then, you know, you don't want anything to get in the way of it. So other boundaries like, please don't get in the way, please don't get in the way, please don't get in the way. And you're sort of, you know, kind of your own life and what you create, you're kind of constantly making sure the crowd and whatever doesn't get in the way. You don't get in the way. Let it grow like a plant. Let it grow on its own in the consciousness of Mother Gaia, you know, and it does. You know, if you just feed it and watch it and observe whatever that project is or that dream, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. So what do we got next week? Next week we're talking about unmasking the unspoken. That's something I'm not familiar with. I'm always speaking with my mind and things. So, but I guess we'll be talking more about like how to kind of let things out, be more transparent too, and be more forward. So again, that's going to be a great addition to this week's about setting boundaries, Christopher, because it's part of setting boundaries that you got to speak up too. So we'll get into that next week.
I'm feeling that one the hard one because I realize that so much I keep secret so much. and it's just because of fear and all sorts of things, and not having time to explain. But yeah, I feel that about. I've been unmasking and unspoken for a while now. So, and tomorrow I'll be on Friday night. We have, of course, our Astro Mingle and our Zodiac Weather, of course, with the Namaste Today, which is going through a lot of changes, by the way. We're having cool changes. I mean, AI is adding graphics. I mean, we're building graphics for our shows that we couldn't afford. So, like, it's so exciting to see things upgrade. So we're having a blast on our team. So I'll see you Friday night. And that's all I have to say now. Have a great week.
And I'll see you all Thursday night too. Tomorrow night I'll be doing my live show, so catch me tomorrow. If not, scottcruzpm.com if you want to book a live one-on-one. November's open. Well, it's been open. People have already been booking, so if you want to book for November, it's open.
Yes.
All right, and see you all this week.
See us on SeriousJoy.com. Love you. Bye.
Bye, guys. Don't put up a shit show. We're supposed to say don't put up a shit show, lead out loud. We forgot our little ending tag.
Another boundary I'm enforcing, Scott.
Yes. Yes.
kidding.
Every
I don't know.
shift.
How much shit can we smell here? I mean, it's like, we'll see. That's the thing. But I do want to like update this to the AI.
Yeah, we got to brainstorm in the open.
That was good. And we need new font.
Yeah. Well, we want to do our 40s, 50s like nightclub stuff, right? We want to change it to that vibe.
Yes, actually, I think it'd be fun. Is that
This week on Serious Joy TV, on Leading Out Loud, get ready to unmask the unspoken. Dive deep with the dynamic duo this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then join us for Astro Mingle on Friday night for a fun Astro conversation with Sensei and guest Michael A. Sugarman. The best in enlightened entertainment, only on Serious